Good evening, everyone. It's a lovely, lovely October day here in the north, in the Boston, Massachusetts area. We're going to be talking about something fun tonight. Tonight is actually an Ask Me Anything. I'm going to wait a few minutes for people to jump on. I'm looking at my phone so I can see when people are making comments and stuff like that. This is going to be an Ask Me Anything. I'm going to be looking at the screen to see who has questions about that. So usually wait a few minutes for everyone to get on. For those of you that don't know me, if you're watching this, catching this on replay, or you're watching it live, my name is Cheryl Hasher. I'm a cleaning business coach. I founded this group called Sisters Who Scale. That's us. It's a community for cleaning business owners, maid service owners, Airbnb, commercial, residential, whatever you do. And I support owners in growing their companies. I go live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a different topic in the cleaning business or maid service industry. I'm an active owner of my own company. My company is called Maidbrite. I'm 40 minutes north of Boston. That's where you can find me. I started it myself with no money. Not a pot to piss in. I didn't have any money when I started my company. And I grew it pretty big. I was a single parent when I started. I am no longer a single parent. But I was for 12 years. Okay. So I've done it. I've screwed up. I've messed up. I've done great things. And I teach you what to avoid, what to do, and how to do it faster. I no longer clean myself. I haven't for a long time. I haven't for a while. And I teach owners many things about hiring, about putting your systems in place, selling, packaging your products, overcoming, objections, things like that, helping you get out of your poverty mindset, because a lot of people, owners, especially women, have a poverty mindset and they have a hard time believing in themselves, believing that they can actually grow a cleaning company. So I'm going to see if anyone, I don't know. Okay, here I am. So eight comments already. Okay. All right. So tonight, what we're going to do is this is an Ask Me Anything. Okay. We're going to talk about something that we all deal with, but maybe we don't discuss it. And the reason why I decided to rip the Band-Aid off and talk about how to hire a criminal, if you can, if you can't, and all the in between, is because nobody ever really talks about it. No one ever talks about those people that come to us that have a checkered past, a colored past, anything like that. Good workers walk through our doors all the time. People that need second chances walk through our doors all the time. And sometimes you find out when you do the background check, or sometimes they admit, or sometimes when you just even do a simple Google search for the person, right? We're diving into this topic today because it affects every single one of us. Frankly, the landscape is changing. There are new laws, there's shifting attitudes. Some of us are dealing with tight labor markets and wondering if you're missing out on solid employees, right? So we're going to cover different things like what the law in your state says across the board, if successful companies are hiring people with backgrounds, if they're not. This isn't a bleeding heart type of thing about hiring everyone and giving everyone a second chance. That's not what we're about as business owners. It's about making smart business decisions while potentially tapping into a workforce that actually might surprise you. So I'm just going to be looking at your question. So type your question. I'm going to be looking at this. Tina, thank you. I appreciate that. For those of you that don't know, I had a root canal Monday morning, an emergency root canal. I wasn't supposed to have it. I wasn't supposed to have it until tomorrow. Hi everyone. I'm going to say hi to everyone. So we got hi Victoria, April. Hi Kim, you're new. Hi Cynthia Fox. Victoria, I miss you. I know I missed you guys too. We all were at the retreat a few weeks back. It was awesome. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Brenda. Brenda's from South Dakota. Brenda's going to be brand new, joining the community and working with me private sessions. She's got a lot of potential up there in South Dakota, and we're about to kick ass together. So I'm pretty psyched about that. Tina, thank you for asking me about my tooth. Hi, Kelly. Okay, so this is an Ask Me Anything. Okay, bring your tough questions for me. Ask me anything about how to hire a person with a criminal record. Who has questions? Just shoot it out and I'm going to answer on here. I'm looking, I still haven't gotten a second monitor, but I'm looking on my phone at all the questions. So let me know what your questions are. Even if there's a lag, I'm still going to be able to answer them. So hi Belinda. Yes, I'm still drinking iced coffee at 5:05 p.m. I know. I miss you too. I miss you, Victoria. I know. All right. So who has hired someone with a criminal record? I have. Kim Manning says she has a felon on her team. Kim, tell me more. What were they convicted of? A felon can be all different types of things, right? I'm trying to think if I've had a felon. Have I had a felon? It's DUI a felon. I think it's a misdemeanor. Thank you, Tammy. I know I am better. Kim, tell us about the felon you hired. I know. I have to get another screen. You know, knowing my husband, he'll give me my Christmas present will be another screen. Knowing him, because he's such a techie, and he's very good at buying efficient gifts, right? Okay, Kim says, thank you, Belinda. Maybe when you move to the East Coast, I'll drive down there and pick up the second screen. Kim Manning says she's been amazing. She gets a tough girl attitude. Okay. Drugs and fake checks. Fake checks. Let's talk about that. All right. How long ago was the conviction, Kim? How long ago was the conviction? April's asking me, while you answer me, Kim, April is asking me what flavored iced coffee is your favorite. So here's a fun fact about me. I love store-bought, unsweetened Dunkin's Black, okay? And then I add a little bit of cream and a little bit of sugar-free sweet creamer to it, and it tastes like a dream. So I don't really do all the flavored stuff. I don't like my coffee sweet, so that's why. All right. Shauna Smith says, I think I have all criminals or recovered addicts. Recovered addicts I have hired before. It depends. If they're recovering 3 months, I don't hire them. If they haven't touched anything in 2 years, 3 years, I will give them a shot. Now, depending, and you guys are all going to know what I mean by this, depending on how they look, right? They can't look like criminals. They can't look like recovering addicts. They have to look a little better because you can't put those people in your houses. If you're doing residential, if you're doing commercial, that's a different story. No one's usually in the office, right? You can't really do that. I'm looking for Kim Manning's. She's been amazing. Gets a tough girl attitude. Okay, drugs and fake checks. Let's go back to that. So drugs. Was she selling drugs? The fake checks would make me nervous, right? Because that is, you're putting her, if you do residential, Kim, I'm not sure, you're putting her in people's houses where she's had a conviction where she stole a checkbook. How many of us would be nervous about that? I would be nervous about that. So, Kim, I would like to hear more about that story, actually. Brenda says, I've hired someone before with a criminal record. How do you explain to your customers if they ask? Why do you think they would ask? Since I'm in a rural area, people know people, and I'm currently dealing with that employee can't come in my home. Okay, so you have a certain situation. Okay, so they know this person is a criminal. Then is what I'm getting from that, Brenda. Right? So you probably wouldn't be able to put that person in that person's home. That's going to be a sensitive subject because they know that. Most of the time, I'm in a suburban area, so people aren't going to know. You know, my clients don't ID my cleaners when they come on the door. My cleaners all have branded shirts, so they look part of the company, so they, that helps them. No, we're meeting for sure, Belinda. Heck yeah. Belinda's my iron chick. She's my workout. She's my workout virtual partner. We're all into the iron. Okay, Kim Manning. This is what I'm looking for. She is the most loyal cleaner. Yeah, but sometimes I don't trust her. Okay, got out of prison 2024. I've been on my team since March 2025. So she's been with you about 7 months or so. 6 months, 7 months. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that you're telling me that sometimes you don't trust her. Is that your gut feeling, Kim? Because if that's your gut feeling, that's gonna stay with you, right? That's gonna stay with you. You know, when you're hiring someone that has a record, you always want to lead from your gut. So if you get that feeling, right, the feeling in your brain that's telling you something is off, you got to go with that, because that's your instinct as a woman, as a business owner, to say, I don't know if I want to hire that person, right? That would make me nervous. If I had a bad feeling, that would make me nervous. I don't like the tough attitude. That could get a little crazy. God knows what she saw when she was in prison or whatever. Belinda, my slow gal, we talk about, yep, has a criminal record from 15 years ago, but she's reliable, has never caused an issue. That's a different story. Belinda, what did she do? What was it? I've hired people with DUIs. I've hired people with assault and battery, because I always want to hear two sides of the story. So if you have an assault and a battery or something like that, but it's part of a domestic, you're probably okay. It was probably a boyfriend thing, right? If you have had someone with a DUI and it was a first offense, you're probably okay. Any one of us in any state could probably get a first offense DUI, because that's basically 2 drinks, right? So you can't hold that against them. When I was younger, I probably could have gotten a DUI, but I escaped, right? And I never got caught drinking and driving, right? We've all had a couple and got behind the wheel. So that's all it takes. But okay, Kim Manning, so she does do residential and she was selling drugs. So yeah, so that's a fairly colorful past, Kim. Kudos for you for hiring her, right? Kudos for you. So Belinda, totally nervous. I had a cleaner with no record steal checks, and she was crazy enough to write checks out to herself. You would think that they wouldn't do that, right? I had a girl who she hasn't been with us, been a few years. I had a girl that just had problems with drugs. Her sister died of an overdose. You know, it was like that type of situation. And her and another girl were in a house. It was a few years back. And she found a checkbook. She was making a bed, and she found a checkbook in the bed. And she gave the checkbook to the husband who was home at the time. Okay, no big deal, right? That's fine. But then 2 weeks later, she went back to the house with another girl, and she was telling the girl about the checkbook she found. And the owner was like over listening to her conversation. I'm not really sure. And the owner called me and said, we're really uncomfortable with her because she was talking about the checkbook she found, and they let us go. I'm not really sure what that conversation was, but for some reason the homeowner got a not so easy feeling about her being in his house. Did he let her go? She had a criminal past. Maybe she was talking about something like that, and he didn't like who was in her house, and he fired us. So you have to be careful. I mean, how did she look? She looked okay. She looked like maybe she could have, had a little bit of a past. She wasn't like missing teeth or anything crazy like that. But she was a little rough, right? She was a little rough around the edges or whatever. And then she eventually ended up calling out, falling off the deep end, and disappearing. So chances are she went back into drugs or whatever. But so that was our experience with someone with a drug problem. So Belinda, oh gosh, theft, domestic, driving illegally. Yeah, I mean... yeah, Kim Manning, she always works on teams. So here's another question for you, Kim. Does she make the other girls nervous, or are they okay working with her? Because then you have that. Then you have, if somebody knows they're on a team with someone that was in jail or, had some issue with drugs or drinking, or I mean, I had a girl that was recently sober, brand new, only worked with us a couple days, worked with one of my team leaders, and my team leader used to love to party, right? So she was talking about, oh, you should come out with us one time. We go out, a bunch of my girls hang out, right? So we should go out, we go to a couple of bars, this and that. And the new girl was so uncomfortable, she quit. She's like, it looks like the girls here are all like kind of like to party and have a good time. I mean, within reason. I think the girl was over dramatizing it because was recently sober, and she quit. She's like, no, I don't want to be around these people. I mean, my girl's not crazy, but they, when they go out, they have a couple of glasses of wine or whatever, like normal. And this girl just wanted to be celibate around people that didn't do anything, and obviously, she's leading an unrealistic life. But Kim says everyone gets on great. Okay. And I'll know about her past. I have 6 cleaners who all work together. So it looks like it's going okay. Kim, what is your reservation? What is the feeling you get? What's the bad feeling when you say you don't trust her? What's the bad feeling? Is it just the past, or is there something else in there? I'm going to go through this. Anyone else? See if I missed any questions. No, I haven't missed any questions. I'm waiting for more. Sometimes it takes a little bit for them to come up. So I will tell you, I have had a few ladies that I've hired that were recovering drug addicts. Some of them were recovering for a long time. This one girl in particular, I'll tell you about her. It was a sweet girl. Her name was Danielle. And she was, she had a couple of things going on. I think she was, might have been into drugs, but also had some mental health issues, right? That she was on medication for. And she came to work, and she always had her hair done, and she was cute, did a great job, showed up, right? And then all of a sudden we started seeing some really erratic behavior, right? Like just not showing up, and just sort of a downward spiral. And then one day she didn't show up for work at all, which was uncharacteristic for her. I did a wellness check. I called the police. And then they ended up finding her at the house, and she was just out of sorts. And then she called me, and then she was talking crazy, like almost like schizophrenic, and talking about cowboys and angels and this and that, or all kinds of stuff. And then came to work the next day, came into the parking lot, ripped her shirt off, her branded Maidbrite shirt off, threw it out the window and took off, right? So we're thinking, oh my God, well, she just quit. We don't know why. We just we didn't know why, what was happening. Then she was messaging my girls on Facebook. Long story short, we just, whatever, never heard from her again. That was it. 4 or 5 months later, my gut instinct told me to Google her name. I Googled her name, and she had committed suicide. So I don't know if she went back into using drugs. I am not sure, but she was clean and sober for a while. So you don't know what's going to happen when they're in recovery, right? We don't know what's going to happen when they're in recovery. That one, she was so sweet. That was terrible. Okay, so Kim Manning says, I have trust issues in her past. Outside of that, nothing really. Okay, so it's just that baseline that you're a little bit of afraid of, right? All right, who else has questions? Tammy, I know you have trust issues. If you're still watching, tell us about your trust issues. Is it because someone stole from you that you hired before? Tell us about that, because I know that you have that. Someone said bye. Bye, Cynthia. Tammy, tell us about that. So then we hired another girl who was a recovering heroin addict. And this is crazy. She was an RN. She had some type of surgery where she needed some painkillers, got addicted to painkillers, switched to heroin, right? And then was on, I don't know what it's called. It's not morphine. It begins with an S when they're in recovery and they're giving them something else and they have to go to the clinic. She was on that. And we're like, okay, she's all right. So she was, clean and pretty decent. But then my staff started to notice that she would fall asleep in the car in the morning at like 10 a.m. or whatever. And eventually she just ended up not showing up, making excuses, didn't have money to get to work, that type of thing. And then I saw her on Facebook 2 years later. She had OD'd. So it's just sad. She had 2 little boys. With drug addiction is tough, right? Drug addiction is real, real tough. So unless they've fully recovered. We had another girl, Jess, that she was in recovery 3 years. She cleaned with us for about 8 months, and then she eventually went back into her calling, which was helping other people in recovery make it. So, but she was great. She came to work. She did a good job. She always came on time. She was good to work with, good attitude. She was completely fine. So you never really know. Who else has questions? So while people have questions, I am telling you that who can you hire? You can hire someone. Okay, let's back it up. If you're in an interview, we do Zoom interviews. If you're in an interview and that person looks a little sketchy, okay? Let's describe that. They look a little sketchy. This is what I do. And by all means, you can try it. They look a little sketchy. In the interview, I say, is there anything that would pop up in a background check that I would need to know about? And I just ask them, why do I do that? Because I am trying to dig, right? I am an employer looking for good people to hire. You most certainly can ask that. If you're getting a gut feeling that they look a little shady, ask the question. Because if you ask the question and they're a good person, they're going to tell you, because they're going to think, shit, they're going to do a background check on me. I might as well fess up. You're looking for them to fess up, right? We had one that I said that to, and she was like, well, yes, what's going to pop up in a background check is I was young, I was hanging out with the wrong guy, and I was accused of attempted murder, and I got acquitted. Holy shit. I ended up like, oh, God. I'm thinking, can I hire that person? So she told the story. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Somebody died. Her boyfriend went to jail or whatever. She was younger and didn't go to jail, but she was involved in that. She still looked sketchy to me. So I was like, I'm on the fence. She had cleaned for a couple of companies, had a lot of experience, but then the kicker was that she lived 25 minutes away from us and needed to take the bus to work. I'm like, that's never going to work. So it was really a combination, but I was really unsure to hire her with that, just because, if I don't know, you're hanging out with the wrong people that go murder someone, that's kind of a big deal, right? Kind of a big deal. That person's going to be desensitized to certain things, right? Tammy says, no stealing, just drinking the night before, then all of a sudden call in sick to work. Yeah, I mean, plenty of people drink the night before. Plenty of people have probably showed up hungover. I thought it was big. I thought it was stealing. Okay, so that's one thing you can do if you're unsure. So I do that. And then who would I not hire? Let's talk about this. Who would I not hire? I wouldn't hire someone that was tied to attempted murder. Not happening. If I'm hiring males, not hiring someone with a rape, obviously, right? Jace is my husband. Say hi to Jace. Jace is also a trainer in Sisters Who Scale. Jace says we let them know a background check is run when we start the onboarding. They tell us, what will pop up, and then it's a business decision after that. Also, your business insurance will not cover certain issues from the past. Exactly. Good to know. If you hire someone knowingly that has a criminal record, which you're supposed to know that if you're hiring them, and something happens, God forbid, where you're responsible for, let's say, $5,000 theft, your insurance will not cover you, and that's coming out of pocket. That's a good point. April says hi. April says hi from Dallas, Texas. April's amazing. Okay, so back up. So someone that's had a DUI, you know what? Like I said, we've all had that. Someone that's had a domestic restraining order, let's hear it. What's the situation, right? Usually they tell you. Someone that's had a addiction, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drugs, it depends on, what it is. Most of the time when they say they have a drug addiction, it's usually heroin. Most of the time, right? It's usually what that is. And then you just gotta say how long you've been in recovery. And then you need to make that decision. Like if this person comes to you and they've been in recovery for a couple years and they look healthy and they look cheery and they don't look like they just woke up on the side of the road, maybe you give them a shot, right? Maybe you give them a shot. There are a lot of people out there that are recovering that are doing really, really well. So you can't discount them. I've had a few that have been in recovery that have made great employees. I've had a few that haven't, right? Like I told you, we had a couple that passed away. One from a definite OD. The other one, I'm not 100% sure if it was an OD, but I know that it was mixed in with what was going on in her life, right? We've had that. We've had people fall asleep in the back of the car when they're driving to the next house in the middle of the day. My team leaders are trained to spot that. So the minute they spot that, they tell us and we kind of figure out, right, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? But let me see. Jace, you have anything else to add about hiring someone with a criminal background? I'm sure they would like to hear from you. Tammy, DUI, don't care as long as they can still drive. Of course, absolutely. I'm not carting them around. Absolutely. We don't cart them around either. 100%. That's another thing when you're hiring people, try and hire people that have cars. It's the biggest mistake. Us bleeding heart cleaning business owners want to help everyone. You can't. You have to hire people that actually help and support your business, right? You can only help someone so much. When someone doesn't have a car, has to take the bus, if someone tells you I'm going to Uber to work every day, it's going to cost them too much money and they're eventually not going to do it. Don't believe them. Hire people with cars 100% of the time. Of course, DUI, you want them to be able to drive. So that's what I'm saying. Like in Massachusetts, first DUI, it might be stricter now. Might be a year after first DUI. Everything's strict up in Mass. Jace, at the end of the day, people have a past, and it's up to the business owner to make a wise decision. Amen to that. Amen to that. All right. Any questions about this at all? Any questions? I wanted to do this because a lot of people that I coach have asked me if I can hire people with a background with a colored past and stuff like that. But so with the live at 5, you get practical answers to your real questions, right? I strive to do that every single time. I try and make the topics different every single time. Every once in a while, every couple months, I'll do an Ask Me Anything. You can ask me anything. Sometimes I train on selling. Sometimes I train on hiring the right people, how to avoid the wrong people, how to grow your business to a high 6-7 figure cleaning business. And a lot of people I work with are getting a lot of great results, especially in Drop Them Up, which a lot with some people on here. And April's in it, Tammy's in it, Cynthia's in it, Kelly's in it. So yes, any more questions before I let you go? We have some cool things coming up in Sisters Elite. Sisters Elite is my graduate program for people that have gone through Drop Them Up and they want more. They want to grow up to 500, up to 800, up to $1 million in revenue. It is the mastermind after Drop Them Up. I'm going to have an exciting live announcement, meaning live on camera on Friday, 3 p.m. Mark your calendars. That's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hi, Tracy. So mark your calendar for that. There's going to be a special announcement that I'm pretty excited about that I wasn't sure if it was going to ever truly happen, but it's here and now it's happening. And it's like the best thing that could happen. So anyone else have any questions? Make sure I got everyone. I got 8 people on here. Anyone have any questions? No. Kim, so nice to meet you. Glad you joined us on here. And Brenna was on here tonight. All right. If there are no questions, I'm going to let everyone go. If you're in Drop Them Up, class is tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be reaching out to those of you that need single appointments in the program as well. Belinda, we need a call. We haven't had one. So I'm going to be reaching out to you as well, and hopefully we'll get one on the books soon. So, all right, everyone. Have a great evening. If you have any questions about anything, DM me. Want to know what support looks like, what Drop Them Off is, and why it's getting so many people results, DM me. Reach out to me. And I will see you all next Wednesday live at 5.